Every time you check your investments or scan the headlines, you're inside a centuries-old pattern, one that decided the rise and ruin of every empire. Most people believe the age of currency collapse is ancient history. But what if history isn't behind us? What if it's waiting for us? Hidden, repeating, urgent. What happens when those who ignore the cycle find themselves living its consequences? Mount Washington Hotel, July 1940. 4. The most powerful delegates on earth gather, their footsteps echoing in hushed halls. Britain's pound is done. America stands ready to claim the crown. But beneath the optimism, a truth lingers. They are not creating stability. They are resetting the clock on an ancient cycle, one that never ends, only changes form. Pause for a moment. Which blueprint did they inherit? Who's really in control? Scan 5 centuries of economic power. Portugal, Spain, the Netherlands, Britain, United States. Each currency, each nation, follows a familiar journey. Innovation, domination, overreach, collapse. The script repeats, only the actors change. If this fascinates you, subscribe now for posts that show how wealth really moves through history. So, what is behind the cycle? Year 1450. Lisbon. Portugal finds new routes to Asia. Their coin, the real, goes global. Optimism surges. Old ways become obsolete. But every ascent creates a kind of gravity, a pull toward overconfidence and risk. Pause with curiosity. Where is this story headed? Spanish silver coins flood the world, minted high in the Andes. The Dutch create the world's most trusted bank and invent the stock exchange. Britain dominates trade and oceans. Pound becomes as good as gold. Each empire uses new power to mask rising risk. Debt climbs as fast as ambition. Is there a warning hiding in this victory? Beneath triumph, costs spiral. Portugal spends fortunes on distant forts. Spain inflates away its wealth with endless silver. Dutch fall into war after war. Britain pushes colonial power, soaring towards unmatched debt. Each age believes prosperity will last forever, but history whispers it is precisely at the peak that the seeds of collapse are sown. Do you see the pattern emerging? Trust breaks quickly. Old currencies lose acceptance. Debts become impossible. Portugal fades. Spain defaults. The Dutch shrink into regional power. Britain surrenders its financial crown to the dollar. Collapse is rarely visible at first. Most empires fall while crowds cheer and believe. Post-1945. The dollar takes the throne. Military power stretches worldwide. Oil trades in dollars. Everyone wants treasuries. Years pass, debt grows, privilege breeds risk. Today, new contenders emerge. The cracks widen. If you want to preserve capital before the next turning point, subscribe now and join the community that values real warning signals. Unlike past empires, today's world moves at digital speed. Shifts happen over decades, sometimes even years. BRICS create new payment systems. Treasury bonds lose universal appeal. Central banks improvise, hoping for control. The transition may already be happening, not in headlines, but in slow, silent shifts of trust. This isn't just about watching numbers, it's about watching the pulse of global confidence. Why do so many people ignore the obvious signs? Because optimism feels easy. The cycle rewards comfort, until the very end. Every stage seemed permanent. Until it wasn't. When the music stops, what will you do? Will you adapt? Or will you cling to beliefs forged in the fires of yesterday's empire? Subscribe now. If you see how history rhymes, you see the next verse before anyone else. If history is warning us again, will we listen? Or will we discover, too late, that the hardest lesson to accept is the one we thought we'd escaped? What will you believe? When the past collides with the future, where will you stand when trust finally moves?